I served in the Marine Corps from 1961 to 1995.
1995.
Mm-hmm.
And your last command before you retired was?
I was the commander of Marine Forces Reserve in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay. All right. If you could briefly talk about some of your memories of General Gray. So, I mean, like, what was your first interaction with General Gray?
Well, I was initially assigned at Camp Pendleton, and we had a guy who was the XO of 7th Marines, knew me, and he suggested maybe I would consider being the S3 of the 4th Marines. And the CO of the 4th Marines at that particular time in 1974 was Colonel Al Gray, and I didn't know him. But I tell you what, I was quickly introduced to him and his operational background through this individual, and got to know him, and I only stayed with him for a very short period at Camp Hansen, and they decided to send me aboard the Blue Ridge with the 9th Mountain Nuclear Staff. And the intent of me going aboard was they are considering what we were going to do with regard to the evacuation of Saigon, the evacuation of Phnom Penh, all the things that were happening in Vietnam. It was sort of collapsing at this particular point. So I met him for a short period, and I was assigned, and I was gone probably about 3 months before we interacted again, and that would be involved with the Operation Frequent Wind, the evacuation of Saigon.
And did you have any personal interactions with him that you can recount? Some stories?
I think the big personal interactions I want to emphasize is when we got involved with the evacuation of Saigon, I was caught in country and I was given the execute message to execute frequent wind. I got General Gray on the phone from the location we were in, Saigon, and he was aboard the ship. And I suggested certain options to it, and we had been planning numerous options with respect to the evacuation of Saigon, from just a few people up to 1 million people. And I suggested an option to him, and I think the first thing that I witnessed personally that I really recount is he and General Carey came in on 2 helicopters, 2 Huey helicopters. And the thing that I admire about General Gray, when he got off that helicopter, his biggest concern was taking care of the troops. As the regimental commander, he pulled off his flak vest and gave it to a Marine who did not have a flak vest. He pulled off his helmet. So he really went to the Marines. Yeah, he figured everything else would be adequately taken care of. In Gray's style, or Papa Bear's style, as I call it, Papa Bear went right for the Marines, the 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, the Magnificent Bastards, and making sure they were taken care of with respect to what was going on in that operation. And I always admired his concern always about every Marine. He always focused on every Marine. And I tell you, that really accents Al Gray.
Why do you think he is head and shoulders above so many other general officers? What is it about him that puts him in a level above so many others?
I think the thing I just described, his concern is about the individual Marine. I've had remarkable commanders, but no one ever accented that concern about individual Marines more than General Al Gray. Always the focus was on taking care of that individual Marine. And I've learned to admire that trait about this individual Marine officer all my life. And we, as Marine officers, as anyone wearing the uniform of Marine, need to emulate that great quality of this great leader of Marines.
Do you have anything else you want to add about General Gray?
I think the thing that was further accented when we got ready to leave Saigon, it was almost comical. I was going to be the last guy on the helicopter coming out of Saigon at that particular location we were at. And he said, "No, Livingston, I'm going to be the last guy to get aboard that helicopter." And typical Gray style, taking care of the Marines, he's the last guy out. And you didn't argue with the boss.